big time. I want to thank everybody for being here. Once again, thank our servers and those that are cleaning after us, after the meal in our beds. I also want to thank the love of my life for her patience with me throughout all these years, Monica Ruiz. Thank you so much. I represent California's 36th district in the Eastern Riverside County. I beat Mary Bono Mac in 2012, and that's the Coachella Valley area. We were asked to say some reflections from this conference, and unlike many of you, this was my very first time at a NALEO conference. And I have some very, very good first impressions. And the reason why it's my first time is because I never held office before. I'm an emergency medicine physician. In fact, like Pete said, I'm a son of migrant farm workers. I grew up in Coachella. My first few years of my life, I lived in a trailer where my older brother and I used to share the kitchen table as our bed. We used to unscrew the top, put the seat cushions on top of the table, and that was our mattress. It was a high school counselor in Coachella Valley High School that paid for my college application that allowed me to go to UCLA, then Harvard, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But when I think of the reflections that come to mind, I see those reflections in the eyes of everybody that I came across today. I see those reflections in the eyes that are the windows of our souls, of our most deep desires while we have our short time here on earth. I see those reflections of respect and how we respect one another, and especially our veterans. Thank you so much to our veterans for sacrificing so much for our country. Thank you for fighting for my freedoms even before I was born. Thank you so much, and now it's our turn to fight for your freedoms, to fight for your liberty, your freedom from want, from hunger, from unemployment, and from homelessness. Thank you so much for everything that you have done for us. I see the reflection of familia when we come together once again, and I see old comadres and compadres sharing stories of conferences years ago and how you greet each other like distant cousins. I see the reflections of comunidad, and I see the reflections of hard work that are reflected in the tired backs of our parents, our calloused hands of our loved ones who work in the fields and the restaurants and constructions, being transformed into smart policies that will improve the lives of our communities. I see the reflections in the American dream, based on two fundamental principles. One of pursuing excellence in what we do with personal responsibility, and serving our communities and our great country with social responsibility. I see the reflection of a young girl named Belinda, who's 14 years old, who lives in a trailer park like I once did. She lives in Mecca. And one day, my wife, who's a nurse, and I were volunteering our time taking care of patients at a free health fair not too long ago. And her father lost consciousness, and I helped resuscitate him. And the paramedics came and took him to the emergency department. And I realized that he must have brought his car with his family, and now his family is stuck. So I volunteered to drive his car to the emergency department, so when he woke up, he would have his family, his car, and he wouldn't have to worry about that. And on the way there, his 14-year-old daughter was sitting in the back with Monica, and Monica started asking her, "What do you want to do when you grow up? Are you in any clubs?" And she looked at Monica and she says, "I want to be a lawyer so I can help fight for my community. But I don't have any time for clubs. I wake up at 6 in the morning. I help my mom get my 6-year-old brother ready. I help her make breakfast. Then I take him to the daycare before I go to school, get on the bus and go to school at Desert Mirage High School. And then when I come home, I clean the house real quick before my mom and dad get there. I start making dinner. I take care of my siblings, and when my mom comes, she finishes dinner. And then I help my mom with the dishes, and after that, I have 1 hour to study before I get too tired. and I close my eyes and go to sleep in order to do it again the next day. That's the reflection and the reality of our youth today. That is why we are all elected officials to fight and advocate for Belinda. Your role and your responsibility is not about you. It is about the people that you serve. And that social responsibility carries forward with another adamant, ¿cómo se dice? Reclamación, another rejuvenation of the struggles to pass comprehensive immigration reform, to make sure that relieve the disparities that we see in health and healthcare throughout our communities, to make sure that Belinda has a high-quality, affordable education so that she can be a lawyer, to make sure that we have economic development, fostering our small businesses for our communities, and equal pay for equal work so that Belinda can have a fair job and a fair wage when she gets older. And with all that, I want to say thank you. It's an honor to be here with you. It's an honor to be one of your honorary conference co-chairs. And adelante como comunidad para Belinda y para todos nuestros jóvenes que sueñen algún día ser ciudadanos, a ser profesionales y a defender también los derechos de los inmigrantes. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Thank you, Doctor. We didn't really draw straws. He said, I have 3 degrees from Harvard. You only have 1. I'll go first. Snob. He didn't say that. But it really is an honor to be here, to welcome you to San Diego and to Coronado. I used to represent Coronado. It's right outside the district. But if you want to go to my district, just get in the water and start swimming. You're going to go right through it. And it really is an honor to see so many friends here. However, whenever I see my good friend Jay Vargas, I always get goosebumps. I mean, if you don't know his story, you have to read it. It's amazing. One of 4 brothers, if I recall, or for all 4 brothers who fought in our wars, and all 4 brothers who were decorated. And he's just an incredible human being. If you've never met a true American hero, you got to meet him, and you got to shake his hand. He's over there at table 11. Really one of the most incredible human beings you'll ever meet, and very, very proud to know you and to be at the same table with you. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to go down to the border to see how we're doing with unaccompanied minors. Here in San Diego, we get about 5 unaccompanied minors a day. So there's very few, but we do get families, mostly women with children. It's a very difficult situation for them. Many of them are just trying to reunite with their families. And we really don't have a humane place to house them on the border, so we're looking for places. And obviously here in the county, it's been difficult. Some cities won't accept them at all. We'll fight against them. I'm hoping to find some place in my district where they'd be welcomed I know by the congressman, but I imagine by the state senator, my good friend, and by the assemblywoman, and I know also by the city council member. We would all fight for them. So we're trying to find a place. But it was interesting to look into their eyes. I got to see about 29 of the kids and the families. And it's interesting because they look scared. They look confused. And they probably look like our parents and our grandparents did when they came to this country. And the way we're treating them as a society is very inhumane. And we have to change it. I studied to be a priest. Another thing that Jay and I have in common, Jay was telling me, and I didn't know this about him, that he studied to be a priest too, but a young lady sort of diverted his attention. Mine was similar, Jay. I didn't tell you, I was in the Jesuits for about 5 years. I was in the Bronx, New York with my Jesuit brothers, and then someone walked by and said, "Holy man, what the hell was that?" And someone said, "That's a woman." And I said, "Well, I'm out of here. You're on your own, fellas." So I left too. What can you do? But anyway, sorry. Did you get that one? How did that one work in West Lawn? No? Okay. So anyway. I don't know. So anyway. But to get back to be serious, I would say this. Remember this with these children. Mark 9:37. Whoever receives a child like this in my name receives me. And that should be our attitude for these poor children that are trying to reunify with their families. And I hope you have that in your hearts and in your mind. Thank you for inviting me. It's an honor.